Hello and welcome back. Today, Luke is going rogue.
Luke, what are you going rogue about?
I am going rogue with a March Madness style bracket of Star Wars characters in a fight to the death.
All right.
Whoa.
News to us.
It is news to you, but I like that we do this. Oh, wait. Hello, and welcome back to Force for Thought. I like that we do the Force for Thought that way, that it's a surprise to us, but it's not a surprise to the viewer. So I feel like it seems disingenuous acting so surprised, but you actually didn't know.
You ever see the Smartless podcast? One of the guests know, and the other two don't. So they don't know who they're talking to or interviewing.
Oh.
So we are very much like Jason Bateman, Sean Hayes, and Will Arnett. You know.
I call Will
Why'd
Arnett.
you look at me for Sean Hayes?
You know why?
You have an affable
Because
quality.
he's the one no one's heard of.
No, Will and Grace is great.
Damn it.
I think I'd unfortunately be Will Arnett.
When does this episode come out? Because all I can think about right now is how March Madness is literally going on as we're recording this.
Yes, and it doesn't end until later. So today is as of recording this,
the
it's
first
March
day.
21st, day one of March Madness, and it goes through beginning of April when the championship is, and this comes out the first Tuesday in April. So it is still going on as of the release of this. So it's topical.
Excellent.
So I thought about how to do this because March Madness is just so fun. Brackets are just so fun. So I was thinking, fight to the death of brackets. I made the tier list, the seating, and then we can talk about it. But then I thought, well, it's weird having like a fight to the death between, like, for example, Darth Maul fighting Sebulba to the death. It's like
Sebulba
it's not
all the
that
way.
close, but
Sebulba seems scrappy.
Yeah.
sometimes in the actual March Madness tournament, some of these games feel like dirtbag pod racer fighting a Sith Lord.
Yeah.
And so we'll make it work. And then I was thinking maybe instead of that, we could do which characters would win in a 1v1 game of basketball. But and I also did the quadrants, and there's like a prequel quadrant, original trilogy, sequels, and TV is how I divided up all of the characters.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was thinking about doing it as basketball, Mace Windu, Finn, Lando, and Greef Karga just had a cakewalk to the final four, and then it was a wash. So
Why?
they just seem like really good basketball players. So we're back to a fight to the death. Starting in the prequel quadrant. Would you rather if I went through the full seeding 1 through 16, or just went case by case, the 1 seed versus 16?
Case by
No,
case.
give me the seeds first. I want to know. I want to know.
All right, starting with the 1 seed going down to the 16 seed for the prequel era fight to the death bracket. We have Anakin in the 1 seed, and then Yoda, Mace Windu, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Darth Maul, Kit Fisto, Dooku, Plo Koon, General Grievous, Qui-Gon Jinn, Jango Fett, Sebulba, Zam Wessel, Jar Jar Binks, Padme Amidala, and Newt Gunray.
You had a bounty hunter rank lower than Sebulba in your seating?
Yeah. Sebulba's a very we'll get to it when we get to it.
Okay,
but-
let's get into. I'm glad someone else gave me the seating, so we don't have to argue about that part at least.
Okay, and so the way I obviously did the seeding, so I think that it should be like Anakin would beat Yoda, would beat Mace, would beat Obi-Wan all the way down because I made the seeding. But there's no way to like naturally generate an upset. So I am going to hold us to, in the first round of 64, we have to have at least a 15-point differential at some point, cumulative. So, for example, if Anakin lost to Newt Gunray, that would be a 16 seed upsetting a 1 seed, a 15-point differential, and that would satisfy that condition. Does that make sense?
But cumulative in the entire.
Cumulative in the entire time. So if
Okay.
4 9s beat 4 8s, that would be
So you don't just want us
4.
to pick the better seated person the entire time.
We have to pick some upsets such that we reach that threshold.
Okay.
All right,
I
well,
like
let's
it.
get going because I just want to get to whoever Sebulba's facing because
Same.
I think that's gonna.
I don't fully follow basketball, so I don't really understand March Madness, but I'm excited for this.
And you're a real big fish fan.
I
so
am indeed.
You actually love basketball.
I do.
All right. First battle, Anakin Skywalker versus Newt Gunray.
Easy, Anakin. Next.
Yeah. It's not even worth doing a joke.
The 8 versus 9 seed, Plo Koon versus General
Wait.
Grievous.
How'd you get from? You went from the 1 to the 16 to the 8 versus 9?
Yeah, I'm going top bottom. You want me to go
Doesn't it
215
Yeah,
first?
215,
All right.
and then work your way to the middle.
215 fight Yoda versus Padme.
Man, I just don't like to think about that, but it's Yoda.
Yeah, it's definitely Yoda, but
yeah,
it's
he
hard.
would eviscerate
Yeah,
her.
he would.
Yeah.
It's you can't really bring compassion into it, but even if you were, Padme is almost more compassionate than Yoda. Next, we have the number 3 seed Mace Windu versus 14 seed Jar Jar Binks.
On the count of 3, Max, say it. 1, 2, 3. Mace Windu.
All right.
It is opposite day,
right?
so we're
I
going
mean-
Jar Jar Binks.
So Mace Windu progresses or advances.
Man, it's a lot funnier for us than anybody
Next,
else.
we have Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Zam Wessel, the 4 seed versus 13 seed.
Sorry, Zam Wessel versus who?
Obi-Wan.
How did Obi-Wan get a lower seating than Mace Windu? This is why, I mean, Obi-Wan.
Yeah, but it's absolutely. Also, it's really funny that I asked Zam Wessel and who is the other one instead of
Yeah,
Obi-Wan.
I know Zam. Who is this Obi-Wan character?
I know him by Ben Kenobi. Is that the same person?
I don't think he's gone by that in a long, long time.
We have fun.
Number 5 seed Darth Maul, number 12 seed Sebulba.
Why is Sebulba 12 seed? Can we talk about that now? The answer is Darth Maul,
Yeah, it's
but
Darth
Sebulba
Maul.
is like, I
He's
know
a-
Newt Gunray's on the list, so maybe a 15 seed.
He's a very dangerous Doug, according to that 9-year-old human boy.
Just because he's an asshole and he flies
not just an
around
asshole.
dangerously.
He's very dangerous. He pins Jar Jar to the ground. I know Jar Jar is
That's
a
true.
14 seed.
His
but
feet,
very
his legs.
low effort
Yeah.
pins him to the ground. He like
Okay.
flings himself over from that cafeteria place.
Yeah, he
The
can
dude's
like
a menace.
can catapult himself. He's a little spider-like.
Yeah, his intimidation factor is high. His voice is very gravelly.
His
All
Fu
right,
Manchu
all right.
mustache.
I will no
built into his
longer
face.
argue the seating, but I will cast my vote for Obi-Wan.
Well, I'm glad you're no longer going to argue the seeding because number 6 seed Kit Fisto versus number 11 seed Jango Fett.
I think we got our first upset here, boys.
No, you wouldn't do that to me on my own Rogue One.
I'm not doing it to be funny. I honestly think this is the first upset. I
Jang-
think you put Kit Fisto a little bit higher than he should have been, and Jango Fett is very capable.
Yeah, Jango Fett is capable. Does he get his head cut off? Yes, he does. But
That's
yeah,
to
I go
Mace
Jango
Windu,
Fett.
though. That's a much higher seating.
That's true.
He did hold his own against Obi-Wan very well, I guess.
He did.
To your point.
And I think he just has a lot of gadgets,
But
especially
Kit
if it's
Fisto
not
holds
raining.
his own against Grievous really well.
Mm-hmm.
Kit
Kit Fisto.
Fist-
Hey,
When? Oh, in Clone Wars?
I don't
Yeah.
think Kit Fisto. There's nothing. I don't have anything against Kit Fisto, but I would go Jango Fett.
Kit
Also, if
Fisto
they were
doesn't.
fighting on Camino, it would activate Kit Fisto's fish-like powers, and he would get even stronger.
Oh, but
Which
you
is a
played-
fan theory, I grant you.
I think Jango Fett also has some home turf advantage, though, if they're also on Camino. Jango Fett's
But
not going to go
less.
swimming to fight this guy.
But if they did,
If he fell
If they
in,
did, if this was in the water, I'd give it to Kit Fisto. But since this is either on the ground or in the air, because Jango Fett has a jetpack,
True.
aerial advantage, I'm going to give the upset to Jango Fett.
same here.
that is such a bummer for me personally. But
I
okay,
feel
that
another
is-
Rogue One coming up later when these two characters are fighting in the water.
that is an 11 upsetting a 6, so that is 5-point differential. So we need 10 more throughout the course of this whole round.
I
Perfect.
don't know if we're going to get that.
Number 7 seed Dooku versus number 10 seed Qui-Gon.
Oh, that's another upset. Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
But
No,
Dooku's his master. He's got that killer instinct.
But he's-
Qui-Gon,
He's
The-
older, though. Qui-Gon... This is hard, because when are we talking here? Because Qui-Gon in his prime is different than Count Dooku in his prime. Or are we just seeing when we saw them? If we saw Qui-Gon when we saw him versus Dooku when we saw him, I'm going Qui-Gon.
all right, even Dooku when we saw him, I'm going to argue for Dooku here because he's an incredible duelist for one. He battles Yoda, and
He
Yoda
is.
was jumping around like a frog on acid, and Dooku kept his composure the whole time.
He didn't kill
Qui-Gon?
any of them, though. He
Qui-Gon-
escaped like a little bitch.
Qui-Gon never kills anyone either, and he gets got by like the first person he ever actually fights. But also, he fights Darth Maul for what? 15 seconds on Tatooine
Mhm.
before jumping back into the ship, and the dude is absolutely gassed. He is panting for breath in that loading area.
I still,
Well, that's because there was a deleted scene where Darth Maul also jumps onto the ramp and they continue the fight for a second.
There's also a deleted scene where it explains why they're running for so long before that fight.
Yeah, that's true as well.
See? I go Qui-Gon on top of I think he's so highly regarded within the Jedi Council, and I think he's so highly regarded amongst everybody else for a reason. I just going beyond what we see actually fighting.
Are you the tiebreaker? Because you did kind of sell me on Count Dooku after thinking about how tired Qui-Gon was after a 2-minute fight.
I am not the tiebreaker. I am firmly on the Dooku camp. I thought you were both on the Qui-Gon camp, but did I
You
convince
convinced me. Yeah,
All right,
I think
back
I'd go
on
with
Dooku?
Dooku. I'd go with Dooku.
Dooku's he's known for his dueling, and Qui-Gon's not really. He's known for his
Wisdom.
Hippy dippy
wisdom,
force
yeah.
shit.
Yeah, he'd go to Burning Man.
That's a way to phrase it.
Oh, the living
Um,
force.
Number 8 seed Plo Koon versus number 9 seed General Grievous. This one's always a toss up.
I'd go Grievous.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
you don't have to say it like it's a 16 over a 1. I think I might go Grievous too.
yeah, I
yeah.
think
It depends on the day.
is Grievous
but
the upset then?
Grievous would be the
Mhm.
upset.
Then let's
yeah.
do Grievous because we need more points anyway. Sorry, Plo Koon. I love you as an action figure.
But we never see him duel. I mean, he wasn't. Was he on? Yeah, he was in Genosis.
Geonosis.
Geonosis.
That was weird.
He survived Geonosis.
He survived it, but we don't
That
really see
never
him
gets enough
fight.
credit. There were hundreds of Jedi there, and only dozens survived.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
'cause
got
Plo
whittled
Koon,
down to the elite.
Plo Koon. That's
The
why we
best
all
of the
know his
best.
name.
Mhm.
He looks cool.
All right, so that's the round 1 in the prequel quadrant. Now we're moving on to the original trilogy quadrant. We
Oh,
have.
should we finish out the quadrant first?
You want to go all the way to the?
Yeah, because now my
Yeah.
head's
Winner there?
already
All
wrapped
right, all
around
right.
it a little
Same.
bit.
We have number 1 seed Anakin, so it no longer matters the point differential
Oh,
going
okay.
forward. It's only in that first round of 64, but now we're in the round of 32 in this.
Oh, okay.
So now we have Anakin, number 1 seed, against Grievous, number 9 seed.
Anakin.
Yeah, Anakin.
Yeah, Anakin's just kind of.
Anakin's a
The-
little
the
bit. I mean, I
best.
agree with the seeding with Anakin above Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan was able to take Grievous. So
I got some
Transitive
thoughts
property.
coming up, but yeah, Anakin over that for sure.
Because you know that next one is number 4 seed Obi-Wan versus number 5 seed Darth Maul.
Yeah, I'd go Obi-Wan.
We've seen this fight before, but Darth Maul did survive.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, and then they fought again years later when they were
Yeah.
both old, and Obi-Wan once again
That's
wins.
true.
I don't think there's unfortunately any argument to claim that Darth Maul would win.
I
Darth
think-
Maul did they actually fight? I can't remember the episode exactly. When Darth Maul kills Satine, that was definitely a moral victory for Darth Maul.
That I don't think that counts. He's more strategic in the fact that he's more cold-blooded, but I think Obi-Wan is a better duelist as well. If we're talking dueling specifically, I think Obi-Wan is no hold bars, and also, yeah, I think it's Obi-Wan for sure.
I mean,
I
to
don't
flip
think-
these rules back at you, are we dueling to the death or to emotional devastation?
It's to the death.
I think Obi-Wan wins that one. I feel I will agree that Maul definitely beats Obi-Wan to the punch with emotional devastation.
Yeah,
All right.
Whether it's killing his
number-
master, his girlfriend.
he has too much to lose.
Number 2 seed Yoda versus number 7 seed Dooku.
Dooku.
Yeah, I guess
Dooku.
Dooku.
Dooku beats him.
Dooku literally does beat him
I
in
said
that
he escapes
fight.
like a bitch, but he does. I mean,
I think if we're doing to the death duel, I think Yoda's gonna get out of breath quicker. He's jumping around like crazy. I think Dooku is very mild mannered and calm and will strike when the iron's hot.
I
think
also
he'll
feel
wait.
like it's going to take a lot more emotional effort by Yoda to kill someone rather than Dooku. Dooku's already a cold-blooded killer.
and just length of lunging a saber. He's got short arms and a short saber. You have to be
Yeah.
in close contact.
Reach, like people talk about the difference in reach in like boxing matches when someone has like a 2-foot reach or a 2 foot 2 inches reach. Like Dooku's got 3 or 4 times the order of magnitude reach
Yep.
over Yoda.
You're
1000%.
you're also on Tyson versus Jake Paul TikTok right now.
I'll have you know I watched a boxing match before, but yes, I have been seeing a lot of news about
I'm
that.
actually really excited to watch it.
God, boxing is so boring though. Have you ever watched any of it?
No, it has to be an event like this
It is
one.
not like Wii boxing. Wii boxing is
Wii
fun.
boxing.
Real boxing I thought was very mediocre. All right, so Dooku. I would have picked Yoda, but I do think Dooku is a very underrated duelist.
Yeah.
All right.
Also, it'll make for a very easy upset later, or just a decision later. Not even an upset.
This is crazy that these rematches keep coming up, but number 3 seed Mace Windu versus number 11 seed Jango Fett. I feel like that's been pretty settled on screen.
Once again.
Yeah, it's
Really
Mace
hard to.
Windu.
I mean, maybe. How does Jango Fett's jetpack stop working?
The Reek tramples him.
That's right. Okay, so maybe if we take the reek out of it, that does give him a pretty big advantage.
So here's the thing: are we talking specifically what's canonical, or are we talking about what we think overall? Because
What we think overall.
I would have no problem taking anything we saw on screen out of here, And I
we
mean,
can't take it all out because that informs our decision on what we think.
well, with Mace Windu and Jango Fett, like you said,
yeah, I'd be fine
I
not
think
defaulting to Mace Windu just because we saw this fight happen.
I think, and I was kind of joking, but not really, about the aerial advantage. That really does, I mean, even the playing ground between, I mean, Mace Windu
I mean, that's why
has the
Mandalorians
Force,
developed their technology
but he also
was
just
to fight
has
Jedi.
a lightsaber.
Yep.
That's true. I didn't even think about that part either.
But Mace Windu's also. God, now I'm starting to say it like you. That drives me crazy when you do.
What?
Mace Windu, you put the emphasis on the do and not the
Mace
win.
Windu.
He's
It's
also like,
subconscious because you know he's taking an L in this fight.
he's one of the best duelists in the order. He could beat Jango Fett. But if
I'm going
I'm in
Jango
the
Fett.
minority, Max, you're the tiebreaker then. If it helps make your decision, I had already written Mace Windu because I was.
I'll go Mace Windu. That's what I was
I already
leaning towards
crossed it out.
anyway. Okay.
All right,
No,
I'll
Mace
put it-
Windu. It's
I'll
Mace
put it
Windu.
again. I'll put it again.
But I think it's a lot closer than you would think, especially if he has his jetpack. That was really the only reason he died.
Yeah.
If
That
he
he
could have
didn't
just
have his
got out of
jetpack?
there, yeah.
yeah, I mean, jetpacks are just so overpowered in Star
I
Wars.
agree.
You gotta neutralize that right away. But he could. I mean, just force compress it, break it right away. The Force is also overpowered.
Yeah, it's
I
true.
feel like a jetpack counters the Force pretty well, though. A jetpack and blasters, or the Force and a lightsaber.
That was the basis of the Mandalorian Wars. All right. Now we are in. Would this be the Elite 8? No, the Sweet 16, but only this quadrant. All right. We have two more. Anakin at number 1 seed versus Obi-Wan at number 4 seed. Again, another rematch that we've seen on screen.
This one, I'd still say Obi-Wan. This is what I was waiting for to come up, but I feel like Obi-Wan is not only better at fighting it's himself. I think he also, we saw in Kenobi, he's using the Force during his battling, but also I think he is just a better person who plays mind games a little bit. I think he is able to get in somebody's head and maybe not tell the truth, but I think he's able to take his emotion to account. I think Obi-Wan is one of the best Jedi. I think would trump Anakin. And, you know, we always talk about in A New Hope, Obi-Wan lets him win, which is
In A New Hope, yeah.
A New Hope.
I would use that argument against you because I think I disagree. Even though we've seen
Mhm.
Obi-Wan beat Anakin time and time again, I think if this was a battle to the death, Anakin would have to win. I don't think Obi-Wan would have it in him. Because he never did.
It depends on where he's at. If he's on Mustafar and Palpatine wasn't looking for him, he would have died. He maybe not would have struck the final blow, but he would have died.
Anakin also holds back on Obi-Wan, although to an extent. When Vader, their final fight in Kenobi, when he puts Obi-Wan under all those rocks, like, you are pretty sure he's dead.
Yeah.
But if I'm Vader there, I'm definitely putting more rocks on top.
Yeah,
or
I
like
think
digging them up and slicing
But
them
we're
up.
also talking about him as Vader. I mean, I know it was like the last half of Revenge of the Sith, but this is just prequel Anakin. I mean, that is when he was at his prime.
I think either way. I think also Obi-Wan is the master. He's the Padawan, and I feel like he taught him tricks, and I think Obi-Wan knows those tricks that he taught him. Even when he's influenced by the dark side, I still think he can pull a couple tricks out of his sleeve. And I think Obi-Wan being so focused in one way of the light side makes him a better fighter versus Anakin, who's flip-flopping between the two and can't make up his mind and is influenced by both, and then therefore sometimes is like a double positive, double negative to me.
I was thinking Anakin, but you're convincing me. I'm hopping on the Obi-Wan train, which makes Max's vote
all
void
right.
because we are in agreement.
All right.
I respect it. I respect the rules.
Didn't say you
Number
agree.
3 seed Mace
Absolutely
Windu versus number 7 seed Dooku. This is a close one. This is a
Ooh.
toss-up. I could see this going either way. I think they're both
Dicks.
elite.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Dooku took on Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Yoda.
Dooku's
Mace
one of the
Windu took
best.
on
but
Sidious,
Mace
where
Windu.
Kit Fisto failed.
Kit Fisto should not have been a 6 seed. I hate to tell you, buddy. It was generous to put him on the list.
I'm gonna go.
I
Mace.
noticed that you left off even Kohler. Is that what his name? No.
Agent Kohler.
Agent Kohler and,
And CC
CC10.
I'm gonna go Mace.
I'm going
Over-
Count Dooku.
You're going for Count Dooku? Oh, so it comes down to me. I'm going to go Count Dooku because of the curved lightsaber hilt diff.
You think that's just
think-
enough to put
I
it
think
over
that's
the
what
edge?
it comes down to. Yeah.
right.
He's got that unique style. Oh,
Who did I say? Mace. Is that who I went with?
what?
Is that who I went with? Or did I say Mace?
You
Yeah,
said
you said
Mace,
Mace.
yeah.
Which brings us to our last one: Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Dooku. Another great
Once
battle.
again, I'm
Do
going
they ever fight 1v1? They don't fight in.
just
It's always with
revenge.
Anakin.
1v1. I'm trying to think if they ever
Oh
do
yeah,
in
they do.
Clone
When
Wars.
Anakin gets Force lightning at the beginning of their fight in Attack of the Clones,
That's for a second though, and then Obi-Wan immediately
Obi-Wan gets sauced. It's for a second, but it's not close.
This is really tough, actually.
It
'Cause
is
I'm
tougher
thinking.
than I thought it would be.
I mean, I still.
Again, I think Dooku is a criminally underrated.
He is, because he is one of those
Villain.
people that I think that would play it super cool and almost act as if he is going to. He's cool and stoic the entire time, which is almost more threatening than anybody who's lashing at you. He's almost more of a defensive
I mean,
combatant.
he was designed as like the antithesis of Obi-Wan Kenobi, as
Mhm.
like what if Obi-Wan went to the dark side, like a similar
Yeah.
design, similar ideals and mantra, and everything you were saying about Obi-Wan why he would win the fight against Anakin.
It's the
I feel like
yeah.
that applies and it cancels out. So now it's just dark side Obi-Wan versus light side Obi-Wan.
And I was just about
And
to say, I feel like
Dark
dark
Diff.
side has to give you an advantage if
Right.
you're fighting someone to the death. My head is saying Count Dooku, but my heart is saying Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I'm in the same exact boat.
I'm gonna go. I'll give my vote first, and I'll say Dooku.
Yeah, I mean, I would go Duke. He's so maniacal and cold and scary that I think he
Mhm.
is a very good duelist. And like, if I had to fight
he
Dooku,
does
I
most of
would be
his-
freaked out.
I just can't think. I can't not think of the transitive property though that we're saying, because we're saying that Obi-Wan is better than Anakin, but Dooku is better than Obi-Wan.
You
Yet
can't
it's
think about it like
Anakin
that because that's
I
not how
know,
March
I
Madness
can't
works.
not. I can't not. I understand. I don't know.
That's the heart versus head thing.
I know. I think I have to go with Dooku, and it hurts. It hurts to say.
Let's duke it up.
That makes me so happy. I did not think Dooku would win that. A 7 seed. What an upset. All right, going to the
should have been a
original.
6 seed. I mean, I think Kit Fisto was a little.
No, the seating is infallible.
Okay. All right.
The original trilogy era. We have in order, starting with the 1 seed down to the 16.
Mhm.
Darth Vader,
Mhm.
Darth Sidious, Luke Skywalker, Boba Fett. Sorry, I have it in order of like 1, 16, 8, 9, like the March Madness does it. So finding these in order is really jumpy. Vader, Sidious, Luke, Boba Fett, Chewbacca, IG-88, Bosk, Dengar, Zuckuss, Forlom,
And Zuckus.
Han
God.
Solo, Leia Organa, Lando Calrissian, Greedo, Wicket, and Jabba the Hutt.
Wicked. I guess Wicked.
All right.
He's a warrior.
He did rack up quite a few bodies on Endor. So all right, let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. First fight, Vader, number 1 seed versus Jabba, number 16 seed.
Vader.
Interesting. I'd like to see it. Vader.
I mean, we see Hutts that have good fighting ability, or at least he's yoked.
Who's the Hut in the comics? That's like-
Brachus?
Brachus, yeah.
Something like that. But he's jacked.
He
He's
has
like
that
not fat.
Colosseum. Yeah,
Even that guy though would get sauced by Vader. But
it's Vader. Yeah.
I had a hard time putting Jabba at the 16 seed because he's big and he's strong, especially because I put Wicket at the 15 seed. But I think Wicket could beat him in a fight. You just gotta move behind him and poke him with a stick.
I think,
you know.
I think that's true.
All right. Number 2 seed Sidious versus number 15 seed Wicket. As much as I
Sidious.
like Wicket, this is
He's toast.
Are we talking Sidious in the original trilogy?
yes, we are.
I still think it's Sidious. I mean,
I guess the Force lightning is
yeah,
pretty.
I was like, if anything, he's
like
just
Ewok technology.
He does not have the power of the dyad that he sucks from Rey and Kylo Ren.
or any sort of lightsaber, but I guess against an Ewok it doesn't matter. So
No.
I'll give it to Sidious.
All right.
But I foresee a upset coming with Sidious in the next round.
Number 3 seed Luke Skywalker versus number 14 seed Greedo.
it's also Luke.
Greedo was made to die. Yes. Number 4 seed Boba Fett versus number 3 seed Lando Calrissian.
Boba Fett.
That's interesting.
Jetpack.
Yeah, Boba Fett.
Jetpack alone.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Yeah, you're saying
rocket
you
launcher.
wanna be
Again,
convinced
loses
me-
his jetpack only due to a freak accident, basically.
But even then, Lando is more of a talker. He can talk his way out of a situation. I don't think he can really
yeah,
fight
if they're
that well.
fighting to the death. I
Yeah.
agree.
Number 5 seed Chewie versus number 12 seed Leia.
Ooh,
He's tearing her apart limb from limb.
Yeah, Chewie.
Right?
What are you saying ooh about?
I think that's an
You
interesting.
think
one.
Leia's scrappy in there?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I'll go. Let's go Chewie. But yeah, I think Leia would put up a good fight. I think she's
Do you think I should have seeded her higher than 12? Because like all the bounty hunters, we can't do it by screen time. They're bounty hunters.
I haven't had an
they're
issue
professional
with the seeding
murderers.
of this bracket yet. Or this division.
Number
conference.
6 seed IG-88 versus number 11 seed Han Solo.
This is interesting.
I think Han Solo.
I would say Han Solo too, but IG-88 has, he's like, if he is anything like IG-11, very versatile and
I
a
assume
killing
they're the
machine.
exact same. In my
killing
mind, they
machine,
have
but
100% similarities.
I think Han Solo is known for his his wit and his guile. I think he'd
slippery.
find a way. Yeah, he'd be scrappy in that fight.
Yep.
I think
Han
he'd
Solo,
find a way.
I'm on the IG-88 camp because I think Han Solo's best asset is the ability to shoot first and ask questions later. His brash decision making.
Perfect
But
for a fight to the death.
You
It
don't
is
think
perfect for
Han
a fight to
Solo's
the death.
brash?
No, he is. I'm saying that's his best quality, but I'm saying it's equally matched by IG-88, in my mind, IG-11, who, found Grogu in episode 1, didn't think anything of it, pulled out his gun to shoot him dead.
Mhm.
That's the kind of Han Solo move that Han Solo wishes he could make, but he wouldn't because he has a heart.
And it got IG-11 killed because he didn't think about any of the human implications.
Yeah, it's true.
But this is a fight to the death. You don't want to think about the human implications.
I think Han Solo would pull it out.
I still think so. I think
All
so
right,
too.
Han Solo it is. That's an 11 seed taking a 6 seed. That satisfies our point differential. Okay, I was worried that we wouldn't be picking any upsets, so I wanted to make sure we did. So we're good on that front. Number 7 seed Bosk versus number 10 seed Forlom.
Bosk.
Is it
Forlom's
just-
cool, but Forlom seems like he's
it just-
slower.
Yeah, I think
Is
I'm
it just rule of cool? I mean, Bosk definitely looks
no,
cooler.
it's a robot thing for me. I think the droids have a disadvantage.
I
Really?
think they're slower, right? I feel like Forlom would be a little slower, and I feel like
Definitely
Bosk.
slower than IG-88.
Forlom
for
also has
sure.
that design where his body is like a protocol droid, and he doesn't seem like
That's
he
what
can
that's what I mean.
move.
And also, Bosk is like reptilian, so I feel like he's got some super strength as well as super sharp teeth.
Their limbs grow back.
Yeah,
Alright.
see, and he's
We're
probably
giving
got a tail.
We're giving it to Bosk.
You think he's got a little nub in those pants?
Oh, he's got a nub, both sides.
Oh.
Oh.
2 tails?
I mean,
Nope, that's He's talking about a front tail.
All right.
Luke's like, how do I seriously talk about this though?
Looks like that's such an interesting creature design.
I wonder what his clothes are like. I bet they're so angular.
All right. Number 8 seed Dengar versus number 9 seed Zuckuss.
Dengar,
Oh.
don't Max, do not trade on Dengar for Zuckuss.
Zuckuss is pretty
Zuckuss
cool.
is so chubby.
Zuckuss is cool.
No,
We're not here to fat shame.
I'm not
And if
fat
we were,
shaming.
I think Dengar might be a little overweight
No.
himself.
Max, Dengar's gone through some shit and he's survived.
no,
Do
no,
not
no,
trade on
I'm-
Dengar.
It's an interesting thought experiment. I am going Dengar.
I would also go Dengar, but Zuckuss
Thank
is not
God.
to be slept on.
Forlom all the way.
All right. Number 1 seed Vader versus number 8 seed Dengar.
Vader. I'm so sorry,
this-
Dengar.
this
I
era-
we fought for you.
No. Went from 100 to 0 real quick.
We're like, oh, fuck that guy.
This era only has a few Force users, and it really seems like they can beat most of the non-Force users.
Yep.
Like number 2 seed Sidious versus number 7 seed Bosk. All the heart in the world isn't really gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
catch
If we saw
Sidious.
any sort of evidence towards Bosk, you could fight maybe a little bit, but yeah, it's Sidious.
I said I foresaw an upset coming with Sidious, but maybe that'll be in round 3.
All right, number 3 seed Luke versus number 11 seed Han.
It's Luke still.
I feel like Han would be able to pull the trigger, though.
Luke
But-
can deflect it.
but
He has a
Luke-
lightsaber.
Okay.
I'm
I'm trying to give us something to work with here, but yes, the answer is
Yeah,
Luke.
it's just do Luke.
I didn't want Han to win his first fight.
Let's save the fights until we need them.
Number 5 seed Chewie versus number 4 seed Boba Fett. This
Ooh.
one's tough.
This is tough. This is probably the hardest one we've done so far.
What? I'm trying to think of what advantages they have. I mean, Chewie is stronger, but the jetpack again.
And taller though. I almost feel like Chewie can rip Boba Fett out of the sky.
I'm trying to think of
it
what
depends
exactly.
on the arena they're playing in. If it's
Yes.
somewhere that could be open air, it's definitely going to be Django. If it's somewhere in a
Boba.
somewhat confined or Boba, if it's a somewhat confined space, it's going to be Chewie.
Okay, you didn't give Kit Fisto that advantage when he was fighting Jango Fett.
No, I
Well,
didn't
no,
need
it's
it.
not this- yeah.
Jango Fett can take Kit Fisto in any arena.
That's bullshit. I'm trying to think what happened in War of the Bounty Hunters because they do fight, and I remember Boba Fett lights Chewbacca on fire, but I think Chewie still kind of beats the hell out of him.
Lighting it, the flamethrower aspect and the just how much
think
hair
about
he
that,
has
too.
is a great.
Is hair flammable? More flammable than skin?
More
Yeah.
flammable than skin.
That's why people.
Certainly.
Certainly.
I honestly don't know.
I mean, you ever see a
Certainly.
burn victim with hair? You know, it's like that sounds really harsh. I realize, but like, yeah, it's like the first thing to go. It's
Okay, I guess that makes sense.
I'm gonna go.
But you don't need hair. I mean, Chewbacca could lose his hair and live, but we can't lose our skin and live.
I'm gonna go Boba Fett. I think because I think just the fact that Boba Fett has armor, he has an array of weapons as well. Chewbacca's got his crossbow and strength, yes, but I think ultimately it might be.
Okay,
But
I was leaning towards Boba Fett also.
Okay, I think I can go either way. I was.
I
gonna-
really can't either. I can also say Chewie, I guess, could have that more animalistic instinct, but he is not really.
Well, I was gonna say I feel like Chewie has almost every advantage other than the jetpack, but the jetpack is
Huge.
again. Yeah.
He's also got wrist cable, thermal detonators.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. He's depending on a
cape.
lot of things. Like it depends on like, well, what tools do they have? Like, what's the arena they're
Tow
in?
missiles.
What weapons do they have?
Imagine they're like in basketball arena. That's what I'm envisioning.
All right, I give it to Boba Fett.
Okay. Number 1 seed Vader versus number 4 seed Boba Fett.
Fuck Vader! God damn it, we're just doing the same thing. I feel like right? It's
Yeah,
Vader.
after fighting for someone for so long.
Same thing with Dengar. God damn it,
It's Vader.
All right, well, here's a close one. Luke Sidious.
Luke. I know Sidious almost took him, but I think
Luke, because Luke wasn't fighting. So
Yeah,
Luke would be
and
forced to fight here.
There's a knowledge gap because we saw in the prequels that you can just, catch Force lightning with your lightsaber. Luke didn't
Mhm.
know that. He didn't even try that. I feel like Luke can easily take it. Just
I
like
agree.
be like, hey man, you can just like raise your lightsaber and you're good.
Well, you could also
Just-
catch it with your bare hands like Yoda.
That requires a lot more
Seems
training.
like a power
I
gap
assume.
more than a knowledge gap.
either way, I think it is Luke though, right? I mean,
I go Luke.
especially Green Saber Luke. Oh, he could take him.
All right, then Luke Vader.
Fuck.
Vader.
Yeah, I think where I fought for Obi-Wan, I would not fight the same way as Luke. For Luke.
Really?
Yeah.
I think Vader also actually. I thought that we were going to
Are we,
disagree.
gonna,
Man,
are we gonna have to talk about why though? Because it's a gut thing. I
It
recognize
is a gut
that
thing.
Luke
Vader
beats
is taller.
Vader.
He's stronger. He's dressed in black. He's got a red lightsaber. I feel like all those.
We're going all Sith. Dooku and now Vader?
The dark side has an advantage to the death.
Yeah.
I mean, Vader just does so many cool things. Like we're also talking about like Prime these characters and Prime Vader, like the end of Rogue One. Oh, but the end of Mandalorian season 2, Luke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. All
And
right, well,
Vader was going easy on Luke because he knew that he was his son at the time too. That's the thing too. If
Yes.
this was a complete stranger,
Yeah.
if Luke Skywalker bumped into Darth Vader in a bar,
We saw what he did with that ship in Kenobi.
yeah,
Pulled that
Darth
sucker
Vader. I feel
down.
better about Darth Vader.
yeah, because you'd give in to your hate, and Vader's way better at that than Luke.
Now, if you can't have any 8-leg or arm attachments, Luke.
It's just your organic body.
Yes.
Just
Luke.
a torso.
All right.
Luke will be one-handed, but he'll still have the other.
So we got our final four so far is Dooku and Vader, and now we're moving into the sequel quadrant. We have starting with the number 1 seed, going down to the 16. Kylo Ren, Snoke, Rey, Zori Bliss, Captain Phasma, BB-8, Poe Dameron, Finn, TR-8R, the stormtrooper that says traitor and then fights Finn.
Is that his
Perfect.
designation? His name is
No, that's
Traitor?
a fan thing.
Oh, okay.
He does have a designation in the universe, but I like TR-8R.
That's hilarious.
Number 10, Maz Kanata, Snap Wexley, Rose Tico, Allegiant General Pride, 14, DJ, Vice Admiral Holdo, and Armitage Hux.
Okay, that's
Okay.
good. It's a good list.
I think I agree with most
This
of that
was
seating.
this was the hardest one to come up with. There's not as many characters in the sequels.
That's true.
All right, so first fight, Kylo Ren versus Hux.
Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren. Snoke versus Vice Admiral Holdo.
Snoke.
Rey versus DJ.
Ray.
Zori Bliss versus Allegiant General Pride.
Now this is interesting. I'm gonna give it to Zori,
Same.
but I feel like she was seated pretty high.
Because
We don't see her do anything other than pilot her Y-wing.
But she's still.
She sneaks up on Poe Dameron and threatens to shoot him.
But
She's got two guns. She got to a stalemate with Rey. Remember on
that was not a
Kijimi?
stalemate. If
Oh,
it
was too. They
if
pulled
that
their guns
was
at the
to the
same
death-
time. If that was to the death, she could have pulled the trigger sooner than Rey could have lunged forward.
I also think that she's been alive for up until this point, so something's kept her alive while doing this dirty job.
That's true. Is she a spice runner? Like Poe was?
At least presumably
yeah.
she was or still is. So
All right. Number 5, Captain Phasma versus number 12, Rose Tico.
Captain Phasma.
yeah, it's Phasma. Rose has got maybe her little electrical thing, but yeah, it's Phasma for sure.
Well, she does some cool combat in The Rise of Skywalker. She helps with that storming on the Star Destroyer at the end.
Helps.
It helps. Okay. Captain Phasma is an elite stormtrooper. Number 6, BB-8 versus number 11, Snap Wexley.
This is an interesting one.
BB-8 is seated
basing
higher.
I was basing it heavily off of BB-8's impact in 2017's Battlefront 2. He's a playable hero, and he fucks on people. He's great. He has a small hitbox. He has a wide area of effect. I know that's not necessarily the same conditions like a video game.
Snap is a big man, and I think that could be in his advantage or disadvantage. I think BB-8 has so many capabilities and so many tools to use against Snap, where Snap is gonna have maybe a blaster, his helmet, his X-wing helmet.
I feel like it's so circumstantial though.
It
like
definitely
if
is.
If they're just putting a boxing ring or something or an arena,
That's
For
what I'm
whatever
saying.
reason, I was also imagining Snap bare knuckle boxing BB-8
because you don't see Snap doing anything other than piloting an
gun
X-wing.
or something. But we can't put him in an X-wing. Who do you think would win in a dogfight? I guess BB-8 can fly an X-wing.
Yeah, well, in a dogfight, I would give it to BB-8.
Yeah, we've
right.
never seen
If
BB-8
the
die
only
in
good
an
thing
X-wing.
about Snap is that he can fly an X-wing, and he would still lose in an X-wing fight.
It's BB-8.
It's BB-8.
Okay, over my protest.
Now,
though.
if we're
I'm
talking
going Snap
wedge-
on that one,
Different story.
Number 7, Poe Dameron versus number 10, Maz Kanata.
Poe Dameron.
Poe Dameron, yeah.
Despite that union dispute, Maz. All right.
We never see her again. She could have died.
No, we
that
see
was
her
episode
again in
8.
Rise of
No.
Skywalker.
Come on.
We have a rematch now from the movie. Finn at number 8 versus TR Radar, number 9.
Finn. Right? I mean,
Yeah,
Nine-
he won that fight. He was kind of gifted a lightsaber at the last second.
That's
And I
still
think he would have
Finn.
lost without it, but
No,
all right.
I mean, I didn't Finn only win that because Han or Chewie came in at the end to save him.
No, I don't think so. I think he just beat him. I haven't seen it in a while.
Did he? Okay, I was gonna go
shoot, now I'm gonna-
TR-8R, but
Now I'm going to feel bad if I'm wrong. I don't think he gets saved.
he wasn't about to like swing his hammer down on him or something, and then he goes flying back at the last second.
I think he does.
Oh, does he? All right, we got to give it to TR Radar then.
All right, let's do it.
I was gonna give it to TR-8R.
Let's do it.
Either,
TR.
either one of them will get fucked by Kylo in the next
Yeah, it
match.
doesn't
Yeah, it
matter.
doesn't matter. It's all happens.
Kylo Ren versus TR Radar.
Kylo Ren.
Ren.
God damn it.
Phasma versus Zori.
I'd
That's a tough one.
Phasma.
I'd go Phasma as well. I think
They have
armor.
a similar rule of cool.
But also Phasma has like her staff and a blaster.
Ooh,
And
she
we've
does
seen
have her staff.
and the armor we've seen like blaster like bolts bounce off it basically, kind of
Yeah.
like Beskar.
That's true. They don't address that enough. That seems like such a good ability for a stormtrooper. Bulletproof?
Yeah.
Yes, please. All right, Phasma takes it. Poe Dameron versus Supreme Leader Snoke.
I kind of want to go Poe on this one.
I think I would too.
Explain. Oh, really?
I think the main thing about it would be if you're using your advantage, Poe Dameron's a very slippery, sneaky guy, right? And if you're in an arena, just even like a paintball arena where you can hide behind things, I think Snoke is very tall. I don't think he can move probably very fast. If he's sitting still, sure. But I also think that Poe would, you give Poe Dameron a rope, I think he's going to sneak behind you and choke you out.
Max, I think Snoke would be able to sit down on the floor cross-legged and just crush Poe into a marble before he even gets within arm's reach.
Does he see him coming? Does he? I mean, again, this is why I'm like, there's so many circumstances. Again, if this was just an empty boxing ring, yeah, you got to give it to the Force user. But I think in almost any other circumstance, Poe will be able to come out of it on top.
Almost any other.
Yes. Whether they're piloting something, whether it's like kind of like Matt said, like more assassination style. We've seen him fly. We've seen him use blasters.
All right. I'll give
He
it to
can be-
Poe.
Tricked as well.
Ooh,
His
this
mind
one-
is weak.
This is a sad one. Rey versus BB-8.
It's Ray.
It's a sad one.
I know we haven't.
I wasn't a fan
But-
of BB-8 winning the last one, so I'm gonna go Rey.
Yeah.
I know we haven't been playing into anyone's compassion up until this point, but I feel like Rey really wouldn't be able to do it to BB-8.
I think BB-8 would want to die in comparison. I don't think he would kill. I don't think he would kill Rey.
He would self-destruct. No, take
Yep.
me.
I think so.
All right, Kylo Ren versus Captain Phasma.
Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren.
Ray,
How would a lightsaber work against Phasma's armor?
if it's like
Straight through
Beskar,
it.
if it's like Beskar to her armor, like bullets bounce off of it, then deflection.
Does that change anything then? Because that really does. Well,
I
he's
don't
still
think
got
so.
the Force.
He could crush her.
She's also got that
Mask.
staff. They could have a lightsaber fight.
Mm, I don't know. I've never seen the staff go against the saber because I have a feeling that would also get.
I feel like I'm
Sliced.
trying to make an argument here. It's Kylo Ren.
All
Yeah, it's exactly
Rey versus Poe.
Rey.
Rey.
Yeah.
All right, then that brings us to Rey versus Kylo, which I kind of knew how that this would end here.
Yeah.
Just thinking about the sequel characters.
I think
Let me make a pitch for Rey real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Were you guys thinking Kylo?
Yeah.
I was not.
I think so.
I'd say this is a toss-up. I can see either one of them taking it.
I think when you look at like just their natural talent, right? Rey being a descendant of Palpatine and just how strong she is with the Force. Kylo Ren obviously strong with the Force, but a Vader wannabe. I feel like
He's
if
conflicted. She has
if Rey
conviction
really
on her side.
if Rey tapped into that dark side that is in her blood, she could easily beat Kylo Ren.
That's true. She could. I mean, especially when we see her flashback and stuff, or her vision of her being a dark side user.
You convinced me. I like Rey.
And she would do the double side blade if she tapped into it.
Oh,
no
We've
explanation.
never gotten to see it.
yeah.
No explanation of needing how. All right, let's go Rey. Who?
All right, Rey wins the sequel era. That brings us to the TV era quadrant. Starting with the number 1 seed down to the 16, we have Baylan Skoll at number 1. Then
Wow.
Ahsoka, then Kanan, then Ezra, then Shin Hati, Reva, Sabine Wren, Black Chrysanthemum, Cad Bane, Mando, Zeb, Rex, Bo-Katan, Fennec Shand, Harrison Dula, and Ned B.
Do we
This
just
is about-
want
This
to?
is about to be upset galore, but let's just go ahead and get.
Well, do you
Baylan
want to
Skoll
just
and Ned
cancel
B
it all
out
and
of the
put
way.
Zeb and just move on?
Starting with Baylan Skoll, 1 seed versus Ned B.
Disagree
Baylan
with the one
Skoll.
seed, but it's
Yeah,
Baylan
same.
Skoll.
There's some major
What do you mean you
biases
disagree
here.
with the 1 seed. He's really cool. All right, well, he beats Ned B. We agree on that. Number 2 seed Ahsoka versus Hera. Force user versus non.
It's
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka. Yeah, it hurts me to
It
say.
does, yeah.
Similar to Kanan versus Fennec Shand.
Kanan. It's no contest.
I've learned my lesson about trying to defend Fennec Shand on this podcast, so
No, you haven't, but you will soon.
real soon. Stay tuned, folks.
It comes up.
And also, I'm there with you.
I don't like Fennec Shand. Number 4 seed Ezra versus Bo-Katan.
Ezra.
Ezra, yep.
Tenfold.
Really?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Tenfold.
Even if we're talking, I think
Although,
Ezra.
Bo-Katan's got the
Bo-Katan's got a jetpack.
Yeah.
She's a
I know the
Mandalorian.
jetpack. I just don't think it.
Ezra has a jetpack too sometimes.
And also, that's,
Oh,
true.
true.
And also, just like gadget wise, Bo Katan does not come near, I don't think, Boba Fett when we were talking about all of his gadgets.
I think we've
Does
seen
she
her
have
use a
wrist
wrist
cables?
cable.
Yeah.
in
Yeah, but
Mandalorian.
like, that's it, right?
No
A
flamethrower,
wrist
I
cable.
don't think.
No, I think a wrist cable, she has a jetpack
She
and
has
she
that
has a.
little arm shield. that can
Exactly,
deflect a
and
single
that's-
blaster
And,
bolt.
and that's about it.
All right, Ezra it is.
I like Bo Katan. Don't get me wrong.
Shin Hati versus Captain Rex.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go to Shin Hati.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Shin too, but
Yeah.
I hate
Thank
it.
God,
I
yeah.
hate it.
Definitely Shin Hati in my mind. Number 6 seed Reva versus Zeb.
I'm going Zeb.
I'm going Zeb too.
Yeah, I think Zeb is.
His staff could deflect a lightsaber.
and he's
Can
just
we see
more-
him do that actually.
He's more tactful, I think, than Reva. I think he's too.
Who would he have
Full
fought
of
with a lightsaber?
Reva's too focused on just killing people. All right,
She's too much of a woman, is what Matt's trying to
Oh
say.
my god.
Hey, I'm not saying it.
yeah, Matt, why don't you calm down?
These are Matt's words.
Sabine Wren versus Mando. We know Matt thinks Mando because girl, but Max.
Sabine,
No, I'd go with Sabine.
jetpack, lightsaber.
Lightsaber, absolute. Mando's a terrible
Mando has a
fighter.
lightsaber and
They
the
both
No,
have a jetpack.
That's
Jetpack's
true.
a wash.
And he has a dark saber
Mando's
too. So
a-
that's
yeah,
also a
lightsaber's
wash.
a wash.
Mando's a terrible fighter. We always talk about this all the
The
time.
only-
Sabine is a great fighter.
The only advantage that Sabine has is that she is a little force sensitive.
Just a
And I think
little.
that's enough to put it over.
That absolutely is. She has the better armor too.
Does she have the better armor?
Oh, absolutely.
Episodes 1 through 3, Mandalorian, I disagree.
Same, but unfortunately, the majority of the episodes.
Mando's armor is like magnetic to all the blaster bolts though, because they always hit his armor and
I
never
know.
his
They
body.
attract it, yeah.
Then 8 versus 9, Black Chrysanthemum versus Cad Bane.
Cad Bane. This is a good one, though. Oh.
I was thinking Black Chrysanthemum
All right, let's
too.
go Black Chrysanthemum. I'm okay with it.
Wookie man.
Yeah.
They're built for different.
The Wookie Ookie.
All right. As with every 8-9 seed though, now Black Chrysanthemum is fighting Balin's Skull.
Balen Skull, yeah. Sorry.
Ahsoka versus Sabine. Oh no.
Ahsoka.
Yeah, it would be Ahsoka.
Oh, the jetpack, really, man.
No, it's
still-
Ahsoka. Yeah.
Ahsoka.
It's Ahsoka.
Almost any era Ahsoka versus Prime Sabine, I think.
Yeah.
11 seed Zeb versus 3 seed Kanan.
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 Yeah, just no
I would think
contest.
so too, but I would think it would be similar with Zeb and Reva. I rest my case. Shin Hati versus Ezra. Do we see this in Ahsoka?
Yeah,
know-
they fight.
But he doesn't use the lightsaber.
No, he does
and he
not.
still kind of wins.
Yeah, it is. I would say Ezra in general. I think Shinhati, if we're using even like logic, or I think Ezra's able to. I think Shin is so angry she would be out of breath because she's slashing so hard, and I think Ezra would
That's interesting.
be one of those fighters in boxing that would take all the punches and not strike until they're tired enough.
You
and he
didn't
would.
care as much that Qui-Gon was out of breath when he literally was, instead of just conjecturing that possibly she would be out of breath. But whatever.
Well, what does she have different than Qui-Gon? I can think of one characteristic.
Oh yeah, what is it about her? All right.
But I agree.
Ezra takes the day. Ezra versus Balin's Skull.
I think
Balin's
Balin's
Skull.
Skull.
Yeah, it's Balen Skull.
The dude is a tank.
Yeah, he is a tank.
Kanan versus Ahsoka. Oh, that's interesting.
That is interesting.
Wow.
I could see that going either way.
Yeah, same.
Who do you think has a better attenuation to the Force? I feel like it's similar,
I feel like it would be.
and I feel like it's them two above almost any other Jedi.
I like Kanan better.
Ahsoka has 2 blades.
Yeah, Kanan has a gun.
Yeah, Kanan
Oh, and he has
uses
the
his blaster.
gun?
Oh, but
think
if he has his sight and the ability to not use his sight, it's like double vision, right?
I don't know about that part, but I think I will go Kanan.
I'll go Kanan as well.
I think the blaster and the lightsaber duo is what sells me on that one.
All right. Then the last fight, Kanan versus Balin.
Man, what this would have been.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
I
that
feel
would've
like
been great.
Balin will swing once, like you were talking with Shin Hati, how she'll swing as hard as she can and tire herself out. I feel like Balin will swing as hard as he can, and it'll break Kanan's lightsaber. Like I feel like you can't even deflect it. He's
I
just too
disagree. I
strong.
feel like he would just sidestep it, or
I
all you have
agree.
to do is parry once while he kind of pulls out his blaster. I'm gonna go Kanan.
I'm going to go Kanan as well.
And so it is. That brings us to our final 4. But for the record, Balin made it to the Elite 8, so he's not underseeded.
no,
No.
Balin's definitely.
He's
up
in the
there.
top, but not.
I think that was the right final 2 of that bracket.
Yes, I agree.
That brings us to our final 4 of Dooku, Vader, Rey, and Balin Skull.
No.
No,
Kanan.
that's
No,
no,
I'm
no.
sorry,
You like
Kanan.
you son of a bitch. You're trying to pull one over on us.
Dooku, Vader, Rey, and Kanan Jarrus. So starting with Dooku Vader, that's a pretty close fight. But I mean, Anakin does kill Dooku,
that's true, but that's
and he's not
s-
even. But I feel like the Anakin was more powerful when he was a Jedi and tapping into his anger than when he just gave into it entirely.
Yep,
I agree.
Because it started to
think so.
poison him.
I agree.
That was his most powerful.
But that's so tough because I feel you can use either argument in the fact that Vader is so strong. If you're using Vader in Rogue One, for example, he's just so strong and powerful, and he's using the Force left and right.
But Dooku is
Du-
all about finesse. That's his
I
whole
know.
thing. Like he'll never exert his energy when he
Yeah.
can just like easily parry it or like use your momentum against you
Yep,
somehow.
he's the opposite.
Dooku
of
also
Vader
has
fighting.
Force lightning, and Vader does not.
Is that a fingers thing? Do you think it's because he has his arms?
In the novelization to the Revenge of the Sith, it is a fingers thing.
It is? Okay. So Dooku has fingers.
Finger diff is what it's coming down to.
I think
I
I,
guess
might go
Dooku.
Dooku.
Yeah, I think so.
Dooku it is.
The
and
Duke.
then Kanan versus Rey.
It's Kanan, I think. Tenfold
Really?
for this. Yeah.
Tenfold again.
It's a descendant of Palpatine,
Even then,
naturally gifted with the Force.
Kanan was never even fully trained. He was a Padawan.
I know, and yet he is so strong, and he has a
Neither was
connection
Rey.
to the Force. And if we're talking Rey even turning onto the dark side, she's still untrained and wavering, just like Anakin was. And for all those reasons, I still would go Kanan. I think you have a stronger light side user than a iffy.
I know
Dark
we're
side.
supposed
I
to be.
think she's more naturally gifted with the Force, and the thing is, I gave a lot of credit to Kanan because I was incorporating both his lightsaber and his blaster, but Rey also has a blaster as well.
That's true.
She does use both.
I know we're supposed to be like comparing this to basketball in theory, but to change lanes to football, it kind of reminds me of
You're speaking my
how
language.
every year, like the Bills and the Bengals and the Ravens and the Chiefs are all fighting for the winner of the AFC, while
The Browns, too.
and the Browns, while all the
Optimistic.
morons in the NFC are like gonna send whoever their best team is, and then they're gonna get slaughtered by any number of these four
Yeah.
teams in the AFC. Similar to that, I think Rey and Kanan would lose to Dooku,
Oh, really?
so I'm fine sending either.
I think.
You think one of them could beat Dooku?
I'm in the same boat as Luke, honestly.
I don't want to jump ahead, but I guess no. I think Dooku would beat either one of them.
I think it's Kanan over Rey, and then I think it's Dooku over Kanan.
I think it's Rey over Kanan and then Dooku over Rey.
So it comes down to me.
And yet it doesn't matter. 'Cause
Yeah,
the
you just have to
decision-
determine who loses.
I'm gonna give it to Rey so that people can't say that we're sexist, despite Matt trying to make us.
Oh my god!
Matt's always just picking the boy.
Don't make this a TikTok.
Women can win fights too, Matt. That being said, Rey loses to Dooku. at the end.
Annihilated. Not even close.
Yeah,
She's.
not.
I'm sure it's that time of month for her, and she's just not even in the mood.
I fought for Padme for a second, and everyone was like, "Oh,
Padme over Yoda?
I think it was Padme."
Rewind. There's
Sorry,
no
sorry.
way.
Leia over.
Oh, you did.
Yes,
you did
were
fight for
defending
Leia.
Leia quite a bit.
Yeah.
All right.
Interesting. Dooku. Yeah, I think
That
Dooku.
settles it. Dooku is the all-time greatest fighter in all of Star Wars.
I would be afraid to fight him for sure.
What seed was he? Out of curiosity.
I seated him at number 7 in the prequel era.
Big mistake.
That is high.
It was just an upset. What
The
do you?
prequel? I think the prequel
It was
era
properly seeded.
The prequel era and the TV era were probably the two most competitive.
Yes.
Yes,
Absolutely.
definitely. But that's what happens in sports too, like the AFC being goated and then the NFC not having anyone decent. That bothers me every year.
That sounds
Yeah.
very biased from some Bills and Browns fans.
That's
here.
true.
All right. Well, that does it. Dooku is the greatest warrior in all of Star Wars. Thanks for listening to my Rogue One. Reach out to us across socials on at Force for Thought or at forceforthought@gmail.com, and we'll see you next week.
See you, Sammy.
It's only Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow,
Ah!
Wednesday. 2 episodes this week.
Ah!